Welcome back to Lisbon, the second oldest capital in Europe, and you can see that history in every tiled facade and every cobbled stone you step on. Right now, we're in Rua de Santa Justa, right at the base of the iconic Santa Justa Lift. This is part 2 of a little series I'm making as I explore Lisbon for the very first time. In today's video, we'll be walking through bustling pedestrian streets, visiting Rossio Square with its wavy pavements, and checking out the Rossio Train Station, which looks more like a palace than a transit hub. We'll even head up to Eduardo VII Park for one of the best views in the city. If you missed the first part of this tour along the riverfront, make sure to check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below. This is the Santa Justa Lift, also known as the Carmel Lift. Tucked at the end of Rua de Santa Justa, it was built to connect the lower streets of Baixa with the much higher Largo do Carmel. The architecture is a total masterpiece of the early 1900s. It's all decorated in neo-Gothic iron, which was a cutting-edge material back then, a symbol of the modern age. Inside, there are even 2 spiral staircases with different patterns on each floor leading to the lookout. From that top floor, the views are incredible. Don't worry though, later in the video, we're actually going to accidentally find ourselves up there near that bridge anyway, enjoying those amazing panoramic views. Usually it costs €6.10 for up to 2 journeys, and is famous for its massive queues. But today, none of that matters because the lift is temporarily closed. For now, let's keep exploring down here. We've made it to the Rossio Train Station, but I'm actually at the back entrance here on Calçada do Carmo. This station is unique because it's built into a hill. You can enter from the main square at the bottom or walk straight onto the platforms from this higher street behind it. I stopped by the main entrance earlier this morning, and it is stunning. That neo-Manueline facade completely dominates the square. Being up here at the back entrance of the station actually gives you a great elevated perspective. If you look right across the valley to the highest hill in the city, you can see São Jorge Castle standing guard over everything. It's an 11th century hilltop Moorish castle that eventually became a royal residence. We're actually going to head up there in the next video to explore it properly. I've made my way to Largo do Carmo, a beautiful, quiet square that feels a world away from the busy streets below. Standing right in front of us is the Carmo Convent. This was once the most important Gothic church in the city, but it was almost entirely destroyed by the massive 1755 earthquake. The The most striking part is the roofless nave. The arches are still standing, but they just frame the open sky now. In fact, the church sits so high on the hill overlooking Rossio Square that from down there, you can actually look up and see the hollowed-out interior and the missing roof. Entry to the museum is about €7, but we aren't going inside today. This square is right next to the upper entrance of the Santa Justa Lift. Let's walk that way and find those views I promised you. This is the view from the Santa Justa Lift lookout, and it really doesn't disappoint. You can see the entire expanse of Rossio Square from up here, and even though we're only in the shoulder season, it is incredibly busy. You can only imagine what this place looks like during the peak summer months. It's also really interesting to see how the temporary closure of the lift has changed things. Usually this spot is a major gateway for people moving between the high and low parts of the city, but right now it's created this quiet junction with no flow.
Assinalamos 50 anos da luta e quanto ao plano colonial de pagamento de trabalhos mínimos se figura e precisa. Israel avançando passo a passo.
We're back at the Rua Augusta Arch. Like I mentioned in the last video, this was the grand entrance into the city for everyone arriving by river. We've already covered the history of this spot. In the next video, we're going to walk through that gate and take a leisurely stroll down the street once it's truly bustling with people and street performers. I'm jumping back in time a little bit to show you how my day actually started. This was earlier this morning at the Aeroporto subway station. I went to check out the Humberto Delgado Airport, and it's honestly fascinating. It's located just 7 kilometers from the city center. You can technically walk to nearby neighborhoods, and from almost anywhere in Lisbon, you can see planes flying low overhead as they land. I didn't film the airport itself, but I hopped on the metro's red line to head straight to Eduardo VII Park. It's the largest park in central Lisbon. The journey from Aeroporto subway station is super straightforward. I took the Linha Vermelha, or the red line, all the way to São Sebastião. It's about a 20-minute ride through 11 stops. If you're just doing a one-off trip, a single ticket is €1.80 plus 50 cents for the reusable Navigante card. But since I'm doing a full day of exploring, I'm using that 24-hour day pass I mentioned earlier. €6.80 for the Caras/Metro network, and it gives you unlimited journeys on all buses, trams, and the metro for 24 hours from your first tap. I'm just exiting the metro at São Sebastião, and if you take the Aguirre Ponte exit, you'll find a little right in front of you. This is actually super handy. If you're planning on spending a few hours in the park, it's the perfect spot to resupply on water or grab some snacks for a picnic. It's located right on the edge of a massive, peaceful park, so you can grab what you need and be on the grass in less than 2 minutes. I've made it to the northern end of the park, and the view from this monumental viewpoint is incredible. This is where the monument to the Carnation Revolution stands, flanked by these 4 huge obelisks. It was designed by João Cudeleiro. Usually the largest Portuguese flag in the world is flown right here at this spot, but not today. Even without the flag, looking down the entire length of the park toward the river is the perfect way to see how the city is laid out. This park is massive, covering 26 hectares. It was actually built in the early 20th century to replace the Paseo Publico, which was torn down to create the Grand Avenida da Liberdade. Originally called Liberty Park, it was renamed after King Edward VII's visit to Lisbon in 1903. It was eventually redesigned in 1945 by the modernist architect Francisco Cale do Amaral, which gives it this very structured look we see now. The central strip of grass is perfectly manicured and flanked by these long, traditional paved walkways that divide the park into two lush, tree-lined zones. It's the ultimate green lung for the city center. I'm walking all the way down the park's central strip now, heading toward the Praça Marquês de Pombal. This massive roundabout is the heart of Lisbon's modern center, and it's where all the main avenues meet. Once we pass the statue of the Marquis, we'll be heading straight toward the historic streets of Baixa and Rossio Square. It's a great downhill stroll that really lets you feel the scale of the city. I just spotted this stunning building while walking down the side of the park. It's the Carlos Lopes Pavilion. This place has a wild history. It was originally built for the 1922 International Exhibition way over in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. After the fair, it was actually dismantled, shipped back to Lisbon, and reassembled here in 1932. If you look at the exterior, the blue and white murals depict massive moments in Portuguese history, like the Battle of Aljubarrota. It's basically an outdoor art gallery right in the middle of the park. I finally made it to the bottom of the hill at Praça Marquês de Pombal. From here, we're leaving the quiet park behind and heading into the high-energy streets of the historic center. This is the heart of the city's modern hub. Standing tall in the center is the statue of the Marquis of Pombal himself, the man who rebuilt Lisbon after the 1755 earthquake. He's standing there with a lion, a symbol of power, looking straight down Avenida da Liberdade toward the river. We're now at Praça dos Restauradores, and if you're navigating downtown Lisbon, it's actually really easy to mistake this for Rossio Square since they sit right side by side. But they have completely different personalities. Think of Rossio as the city's historic living room. You'll know you're there when you see that mesmerizing wavy pattern on the black and white cobblestones and those two grand bronze fountains. Restauradores, on the other hand, feels more like a grand gateway to the luxury shops and high fashion of Avenida da Liberdade. According to city guides, the dead giveaway here is this massive, 30-meter stone obelisk rising from the center. It was built in 1886 to commemorate the restoration of Portuguese independence from Spain back in 1640. You're also surrounded by some striking architecture here, like the rose-pink Palacio Faz and the Art Deco facade of the old Eden Theater. Simply put, if you see waves and fountains, it's Rossio. If you see a giant stone needle, it's Restoradors. We'll be in Rossio in just a few minutes, but let's take a second to enjoy the grand scale of this place first. Just a few steps away from the obelisk and Restoradors, you'll find the Monumento ao Calcetero, the monument to the pavement worker. It's a beautiful bronze tribute to the artisans who have spent centuries meticulously crafting Lisbon's iconic black and white cobblestone pavements, known as Calçada Portuguesa. The sculpture was created by Santa Justa Lift, and it really captures the hard work behind the beauty we see under our feet. It's a lovely way to honor the people who literally built the character of this city. And here we are at the main entrance of Rossio Train Station. Remember how we went in through that back entrance earlier? Seeing it from the front is a completely different experience. This neo-Manueline facade is just incredible. You can really see the detail on those two intertwined horseshoe portals now. It looks like something out of a storybook, especially with the little clock turret and all that abundant sculptural decoration. Now we've finally made it into the heart of Rossio Square. This has been one of Lisbon's main hubs since the Middle Ages, seeing everything from celebrations to bullfights. But the first thing you'll notice, and honestly it's hard to miss, is this psychedelic wavy pattern on the ground. It's called Mar Largo Wide Sea, and the way the black and white stones are laid out creates this trippy, undulating effect that can actually make you feel a little dizzy if you stare at it too long. While everyone calls this Rossio, which basically means the Commons, its official name is Praça de Pedro IV. You can see his monument right here in the center, the Column of Pedro IV. This 75-foot marble column was erected in 1870 to honor the King of Portugal, who was also the first Emperor of Brazil. Flanking the column are two grand bronze fountains imported from France. Between the splashing water and those dizzying pavement waves, this square has an energy like nowhere else in the city. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's the ruined, roofless Gothic church we were standing in front of just a few minutes ago. From down here in the square, you can really see how it dominates the skyline, and how that open-air nave just lets the light pass right through. It's such a powerful reminder of the 1755 earthquake, looking down over the city it once watched over. I'm going to end this walk here in the heart of Rossio. In the next video, we're heading up to the highest point in the city to visit São Jorge Castle. We'll explore the fortifications and then walk all the way back down into Baixa just as the sun starts to set. To me, that's the best way to see and explore all of Lisbon's layers. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.